Brilliant. Well, we're going to be moving on to Singapore. Um,
Do a quickie.
yeah, it's going to be a quickie here. Interesting. A lot of fines, a lot of kind of signs and prohibiting different activities here. I mean, basically no spitting. So if you are a prostitute in Singapore, you are unfortunately swallowing every time. It's where do tend to take my girlfriend on holiday for that reason. Um, and we've got, this is an example. I mean, we've got a bit of a contradiction already. Um, you can't spit, but clearly there's a gigantic white lion thing doing it right here. So, don't know what's quite going on there. I'd say hypocritical. Um,
He's rich. He pays $500 every for
every
every
time.
spit.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
That is a very fair point. So yeah, interesting location. Who wants to take us through this, Nighty? I'm putting you forward.
Oh, he got the easy one. Yeah, yeah.
It's very easy. I mean, as you can see on the top, Singapore has 4 official languages, and oftentimes when you see signs, be it for construction sites or just any office building, you see them always in 4 languages: English, Malaysian, Chinese, and Tamil. That's a Southern Indian language.
Okay.
And Chinese, it's just a script. It doesn't matter if it's Mandarin or Cantonese. Um, on the top left, the sign you see, which we also have an example afterwards, is a road sign where there are highways shown. Highways in Singapore are always 3-letter highways, be it KPE, TPE, PE, PIE. I've also seen C something something. Those are typical Singaporean highways.
I'd be a bit disappointed if I followed a road and there wasn't any pie at the end of it, personally. But there you go.
Because of the British, of course, everything's in English. Even the Macpherson Road, that's such a British name.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, yeah, it is. Our fault again. Sorry, guys.
But good for Geoguessr players. Uh, One slide to the right, we have the typical black and white generation 4 sidewalk barrier or street barrier. It's also very Singaporean along with the flag. And those high rises in the background, you see them a lot in the Philippines. Those, I think, are state built, and if you rent them, you can only rent them for 5 or 10 years, and you're lucky to renew your contract, something like that. But those high rises, maybe even many high rises next to another that look almost the same, because Singapore is so densely populated, is typical Singaporean. Yeah. Next slide on the right, we see, of course, left-hand driving, an homage to the Brits.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
I think for when I think of Singapore, when I'm guessing from a shitter's point of view, I to me Singapore is like the Dubai of Southeast Asia, where it's like the roads feel very freshly, newly paved. Everything seems relatively new, kind of upmarket in a lot of different places, at least where the coverage is concerned. Um,
it's all of Singapore. It's the richest country of, I'd like to say, all of Asia, even richer than Japan.
okay.
So they have a lot of money to build roads, to build nice buildings, everything, to make everything green, because everything is built up. Build a lot of they plant a lot of plants.
Yeah.
That's Singapore in a nutshell. Yeah. On the bottom left, you see a typical Singaporean road sign, that green one with that font that's only seen in Singapore. So if you're in a suburban area, you see such a street sign, definitely know you're in the Philippines.
Some italics going on it.
Yeah, their
A
font
bit.
is very unique for some reason. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, very unique.
Yeah, Ed, you have to talk me through what that black plate is with the letters and numbers.
Yeah, that's the most common plate you see in Singapore is the kind of like a British style letters. It's very similar to Hong Kong. I think there are older cars that they use like very close to UK, which is like white in the front and yellow in the back. But I think it's like maybe older cars because nowadays it's mostly black license plates.
Yeah, black license and shorter numbers and letters as I've seen because I've only seen blurred ones in Singapore.
Mm.
Yeah, even the font kind of feels like the UK license plates.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
very similar. It's like Hong Kong, UK, and Singapore. It's like I don't know. They both copied UK. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Cool. Are we ready to move on to locations?
Well, just shortly explaining the bottom middle one. That's a typical public transport station in Singapore. They have a lot of train transport
Yeah.
or rail transport,
MRT is
should I
the key
say?
word, right? You see on bus stops, on stations, MRT is their
Route.
transport system is all across the country.
Yeah, as well as that logo on the left side. That is only found in Singapore. And yeah, Singapore has Gen 2, 3, and 4, but nowadays Gen 4 is taking over very fast. I think at least two-thirds, if not more, is only Gen 4 in the Philippines, in Singapore, sorry. And Gen 2 and 3 you rarely see. Sometimes Gen 3 or 2, but and the most trackers in some natural reserves are Gen 3, but that's it. The
Yeah,
city itself is almost exclusively Gen 4 now.
I think that it's interesting because obviously the Gen 4 really helps sell that kind of aesthetic that goes on with Singapore, as we were just mentioning. Like, you
Definitely.
open up a location, it's like bang, super bright, super saturated, really clear, very clean, very upmarket. Yeah, it's quite an interesting.
And I think one very unique thing about Singapore, other yeah, is usually hard to need to use this, but there's so many trees and plants and bushes and stuff. Even inside the buildings, if you visit Singapore, it's like there's trees everywhere. So even though the whole country is like urbanized, they put as many trees as they can. So
Yeah, makes
it's
sense.
very hard to see like a dead highway or a dead avenue in Singapore.
Yeah, I feel like Singapore is like someone tried to make city skylines into like an actual like real life. Just like
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
inside the airport, there's plenty of trees inside the airport terminals as well. So,
Not
yeah.
only trees, also a waterfall.
Yeah. There's waterfalls. Yeah, that's kind of their thing.
right,
It's
let's.
definitely prettier than Dubai, I would say. It's like they have a better aesthetic than the Arabs.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
do
yeah.
the
Changi
greenery.
Airport, I think, was voted now 8 times in a row the best airport in the world.
Um, well, here's location number one. Anything to? I think this we're just looking at some like just a general look and feel here. We've got a green road sign. We've
I
got a bit
added
of
this
text.
location. Yeah.
Yeah, is it just kind
I
of a
chose this location because of
okay?
this green sign there. It's kind of very unique to Singapore and may help you pinpoint because like especially on the outskirts, let's call of the islands, they are not very creative with road names. So if you zoom in, like you can see like they're using numbers like it's like the same. So there's Tuas Avenue. There's from 1 to at least 20, and it doesn't stop there because they're usually like Tuas Road, Tuas Pass, Tuas Cross, Tuas High Point. They get very creative, not with the road names, but how to like synonyms for roads. There's stuff from Shakespeare like calling roads, right? But the names are the same. So if you get this type of location, you're probably in a lucky scenario. You probably can pinpoint it because if you zoom out, there's probably like a neighborhood called Tuas, and then you go in and try to pinpoint yourself. That's like very traditional of the outskirts, the newer neighborhoods of Singapore, like
Yeah.
repeating, right? Like so they have like Bean Road, Bean Avenue, Bean Cross, Bean Street. It's kind
Yeah,
of
and
their
on
thing.
that sign, that Tuas Avenue 11 is not the number 11 of Tuas Avenue. It's the 11th Tuas Avenue.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
This is
There's
interesting.
at least 20 avenues called Tuas.
This is like a really the UK-ish, like European style bus. Just this is like a kind of just it just if I just got a picture of this bus, I wouldn't go mental if I was going. It kind of
A
just looks like
modernized British double-decker bus.
yeah. It's definitely got that kind of feel to it. But yeah, really really interesting with the road names. I mean, organizing to meet someone doesn't sound that easy. Thank God for sat nav. So got another location here. Oh, here we go. Some of the three-letter motorway signs or road signs.
Exactly. Just another example of the three-letter
Yeah.
motorway signs.
Yeah, something else I keep noticing is the white and black on the curb. Um,
Yeah.
that's pretty typical of Singapore. Am I right in saying that?
Correct.
All Singapore has it. Johor. There's I think later when we discuss Malaysia, there's some Malaysian cities that they can look kind of Singaporeish, but fortunately there's so many signs in Singapore that it's very hard to get those two mixed together.
Yeah,
But yeah, black and white all across curbs all across the city.
interesting. Yeah, I mean Singapore, one of the easier locations. Definitely, that's pretty much it for what we wanted to talk about. Um,
Yeah.
I think most people can differentiate it. Well, I think we've given some really good tips there just to kind of narrow that down and a little bit of extra information as well. Which is